Good morning, Jackson.
Good morning, Nicki. And good morning, everybody that's listening. My name is Jackson Dean. I'll be your host.
And I'm Nicki Christensen.
And he comes with the most. Yeah, guys, welcome to another episode. We hope you enjoy this one. We're going to be producing quite a few sessions or episodes out of this chat. But a few very cool things that are on the agenda. Nicki Christensen, who is a very valued client of Social Growth Media and someone who has been on the podcast before, a lot of you may have heard his voice before, is 1 week away, or not even, about 4 or 5 days away from flying to South Africa and speaking in front of how many people?
1,800 people.
1,800 people. So we are going to be going through a few different things about how that has happened and what the journey is from there. But we're quite excited for today, aren't we, Nicki?
I am. It's something I've learnt recently is the way that you view the world, your global view, is formed by everything that you've done in the past. That makes a lot of sense, right?
Right.
So you've spoken on stages all around the world.
Correct.
Whereas for me, this is my first stage that I'm going to walk out onto. So how you're going to view what I'm about to do and how I'm thinking of what I'm doing will not be the same just by nature of what we've individually been through.
Yeah, obviously.
And I think that's fascinating because when you assess on how do you progress, how do you get further ahead, do you get coaching? Do you pay to have a mentor? Like which way do you go as a professional to develop your skills? Part of the reason I'm a client of yours is because I actually like spending time with you.
Oh.
And
Isn't that nice?
It is nice, but it's also valuable. So if you take all the I always say when I'm coaching people, if you want nice and cuddly, go hug your mum. But if you want business tips, tools and honesty, that's what I'm here for as the coach.
Yep.
So back to the business side of it and not trying to get weird, warm and fuzzy. It's like, what can I take out of Jackson Dean, who has done this stuff before, and then learn from to speed up my success? Like Russell Brunson calls it hacking someone, right?
Yep.
And I just think that's the key. Like I'm sitting here, in 4 days, I'm on the biggest stage I'll ever be on. As you know, we're about to go through.
Thus far.
Oh yeah, but as I sit now, I've got it's a cool thing to ponder.
It is.
And I'm excited, and I can't wait.
What did you just tell me about being excited?
I think that your brain should inform your face that you're excited.
So it is quite exciting, and fun fact about speaking in front of 1,800 people or public speaking in general, they say that the number one human fear is public speaking more than death.
I don't get it.
People fear public speaking more than they fear their own death.
It's the thing you do the most every day.
Well, for some people, but for other people, getting on a stage or getting in front of people and sharing ideas and that fear of judgment is crippling. So,
but I get that. Like I'm incredibly insecure, and I come across as quite secure and a dominant, like alpha driver. But if you really break me down, I'm the same as everybody else. I've got my insecurities. I've got my negative mindset voice that sits on my right shoulder. I've got everything everyone's got.
Why do you have that?
You can't engineer the human out of humans. That's what I've learned. Like I used to really be down on myself and go, I'm supposed to be smarter. I understand the mechanics behind mindset. I understand, like, why do I still have this? And it's actually my wife who said, you're a dickhead because you can't engineer humanity out of a human. And I think, I know it sounds incredibly simplistic and like a cop-out answer, but I really believe that. We've got to just take a breath, give yourself the benefit of the doubt and go, you know what? You're a human. You come with all these complex things that go into making a human. We're awesome. I mean, have you ever just as simply, the human eye, when you're trying to take a photo with your camera, obviously Samsung's better. But, when I take my Apple and I take my photo and then I'm standing next to a Samsung user, you'll never get the same definition as the human eye in the photo, right?
Correct.
You ever noticed that?
No, of course.
Okay. So humans are amazing. And I think we think we're in such control of what we do and what we learn and how we position ourselves that we think that we can control everything. But we just got to remember you're human. So that's why I feel really disappointed. I've heard the same thing, people would rather die then give a talk. And I'd go, wow, I've met some amazing people that should be on the stage and telling thousands of people what they know, because that would just be so good for their target audience. But they're crippled by this fear of taking the step.
Yeah, and it's hard for everybody the first few times, but it's like anything, you just have to practice. And eventually you get a bit more comfortable with it. I hated public speaking when I started doing it. I still don't really like it that much. Like,
is it fear of judgment? For me, I think it's fear of judgment. I think it's just the most basic fear of judgment.
It's just uncomfortable. It's just until you get in. For me, I get more. I don't really get anxious or feel anxiety. I got taught. I forget who told me this, but before you go on stage, I mean, every human gets the feeling of anxiety, but you can trick your brain into changing that emotion into excitement, just by continually saying that I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited, I'm excited. And the anxiety and excitement is actually the same type of neurochemical or whatever that is released in your brain. So if you keep telling yourself that you're excited, you don't actually feel that anxiety. And so you just keep saying that. If you're starting to feel anxious, you don't have to say it. But when you start feeling anxious, you keep saying that before you go on stage. And apparently, and I feel like it definitely has helped me the first few times that I spoke. And now I'm a lot more comfortable doing it. Obviously, running a podcast helps as well. It sort of trains you for speaking in front of people. But I think for me, speaking for doing what you're about to do, which is speaking for a small amount of time, like a TED Talk, I think that is the most challenging thing ever. I can get on a stage and speak for 8 hours, no problems. Like when we we used to run our workshops and boot camps and things like that. That was quite simple for me, because you can go on tangents and you can sort of say everything you pretty much know in a solid 8-hour session. But when you have to condense it down, and when it's like, you don't really have a room for error, and you need to say what you need to say in a very concise way as quickly as possible, that is very hard for me. Like, I can never stay on time when it comes to speaking.
I'm showing Jackson, so this is great for podcasting. You can't see what I'm showing you, but I'm showing Jackson a photo of all the parts of the talk that I've prepared that didn't make it in. And it's a picture of A5 bits of paper scattered around my lounge room floor, and they were all the bits that I've pulled out that I originally put in when I first did the run through. Now, how many bits of paper are lying in that photo on the floor, you reckon? Just a quick guess.
50.
Yeah. Every piece of paper is a central idea.
That's a lot of ideas.
Yeah. So when you write your first... So I'm just agreeing with you that put me on a stage and I'll talk for 2 days, piece of piss. Like, because you've got room for padding. You've got room for error. You've got room for poor execution. You've got a lot of room for a lot of things. 15 minutes, there's nowhere to hide in 15 minutes. You either get in and do the punches and get out and leave them with a takeaway, or you've failed. That's why TED's 18 minutes.
Yeah, I know. That's a limit.
I meant to bring you a book today, by the way, too. It's on my bedside table.
That's right. Take it with you. Yeah, read that on your way over. That's the TEDx Talk book. Very good book if you ever want to get into storytelling and really, sort of high-level public speaking. That's a really good book to read. Now...
That's by Chris Anderson, by the way. TED Talks by Chris Anderson.
Yeah, Chris Anderson is the founder of TED.
Yep.
So...
Well, he's not the founder of TED, actually. He bought TED.
Oh, that's right. He did, yeah.
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 But he's TED, right? But
yeah,
he's the one who
TED
took it and made it what it is today. So, yeah.
Very, 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 very good company.
I'd like to see you give a TED Talk. Have you ever done a TED Talk?
No.
I think you should organise a TEDx.
Yeah, no, I got a guy who wants to organise one for me, but it is like a 12-month process to actually organise it. So you need to... I'm not there yet. Give me a few more years and I'll get my head around doing that. I just feel like right now I'm getting thrown stuff left, right and centre that are like definitely potentially profitable things that I could be doing, but distracting things that I could be doing. So shiny objects. My goal right now with the few companies that I run is to just run the few companies that I run them successfully for for another 24 months and then see where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm actually going to get back into the public speaking stuff. Right now, I'm like not taking public speaking gigs this year. Like I'm going to wait till next year. I just want to see this year out, concentrate, don't want to get distracted with stuff like that. Plus, like, you know, we're getting to the point where we can definitely take on more clients, but I'm like hiring as quickly as I'm signing clients up. Like, so we just got to be real careful at the moment that we don't grow too fast, too quick, which is a serious problem I've run into before. So I feel like I know how to handle it this time. But
that reminds me of a good. Can I break in on you there?
Yeah,
it actually reminded me of a good point raised this weekend, the workshop I've just done, where Coach Sharif talked about not being in the hierarchy building business, but being in the access building business. And I think from knowing your story, and I did the same thing, I built a cost-heavy hierarchy to begin with to be able to provide a service to then deliver to customers.
Yeah.
Whereas the thought is around is what you're doing now is, no, you're going to have access. So you will simply just access the labour as you need it, but you're doing frontline activities first, bringing customers in, and then adding on the labour or the service skill behind it.
yeah.
Is that right? I mean, that's the key takeaway I've got out of my time of doing it the wrong way in outsourcing.
Oh, yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Explain it another way for any listener in layman terms, for someone who's just starting a business. Because I know what you said, but someone who, you know, isn't really, you know, running a big business might not understand it. So go try and explain that in an even simpler way.
Sure. So, I mean, so if you're just launching a business, the first things you think about, okay, I want my business card, I want my logo, and then I go, okay, so then I want someone who's going to have to handle my call traffic. So I'm probably going to have to get a receptionist, or you may even think, hang on, I need a base of operation. So we have this imposter syndrome naturally. So we're okay, to be taken seriously, I probably need to hire an office somewhere or a factory if you're producing protein shake or whatever.
Yeah.
So the minute you've got, you invest into a hierarchy or structure of having an asset that is actually a cost base to start with, you then have to man the asset because then you need a receptionist.
Yeah.
So once you've got the receptionist, then you've got the cost of a premises, the cost of a receptionist, and you haven't even got a client yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that way of, we think we've got this lineal, and I take it back to industrialization, like that's the old chain of thought of you've got to build this hierarchy of stuff to then be perceived to be real, to then be doing business the way you should be. Whereas now it's actually the era of access. It's like you need a microphone, a laptop, and an internet connection. And you've got a voice, you've got a media company.
Yep.
So it's like, don't go about it old school way of building hierarchies. Go about it thinking, I'm all about access. Like Airbnb built the largest hotel empire. They don't own any buildings. Uber built the largest taxi company without owning any cars. Like we've all heard all those stories, but they accessed it. They didn't build hierarchies.
Yeah. Well, I got a real example. My version 1 of
I love it.
social growth media, which was almost 3 or 4 years ago now, I had a guy that was real interested in learning what I had done on Instagram, and I didn't even think of it as an actual business at the time. He just said, you know, can you train me to grow my Instagram account? Because he was running sort of like a network marketing business and really quite ahead of his time without even knowing. And he just thought, you know, I really want to know what you did on Instagram. Like, and at the time, I think, I don't know what I had, like maybe 20 or 30,000 followers, something like that. And
which is huge 3 years ago, Jack.
Yeah, it was. But it was also very easy to do, which I wish if I
early
had
adopter, or why do you say it's easy?
Oh, the algorithm was different. Like you could literally just do as much as you wanted on Instagram and grow your account as quickly and as fast and as big as possible without running into any, you know, terms of use problems or restrictions that Instagram's now like superimposing. Mm-hmm. So this guy, I hope if he ever listens to this that he's okay with it, but I convinced him that I had a course on Instagram marketing, and I signed him up for $5,000, and I told him, I was very transparent. I said, I have a course, it's getting built. What that actually meant was that I was going to build it if he signed up. And I was like, I said to myself, well, if he signs up, yeah, there might not be a full video course, but there's always my voice anyways. Like I can just literally sit on the phone for man hours and just coach him one-on-one. And that'll teach me sort of the problems or like the objections or like what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, how to actually teach the program. And I was like very transparent with him. I just said, I'm going to build a course for you, like a members area. Like there'll be a full thing and you can do one-on-one sessions with me and I'll teach you how to do it and this will be the result. And he was like, yeah, all right, sweet, let's sign up. So he signed up and then I was like, wow, okay, this is like a real thing. Like people want to learn how to grow their Instagram. And the whole point of telling you that story is I literally launched a business without having anything. So the business was already, like in quotations, $5,000 cash flow positive, right? Before I'd even tested anything. But that was a test, because if people want your product, something that I've always gone off, which is a very close assimilation to this quote, version 1 is better than version none, is
great quote.
If you have a product that's really good, it should sell itself without it being the final version. People should already want it. The very simple, not so pretty version where you don't have a graphic designer, you have a really terrible website, you don't even have business cards or anything like that. But when you tell somebody what you're actually doing and they want it, well, that tells you that you have something. Because when you create the version 10 that looks really good, well, obviously it's just going to sell even better. But if you feel like you need to invest tens of thousands of dollars, which I talk to with clients all the time, in this $54,000 app that you have to build. And once it's built, now you can start to market and advertise it and sell that product. You've gone about it the complete wrong way. You need to test the market to make sure that your product is something that the market actually wants. Just because you want it doesn't mean the market wants it. And so that was a pretty good lesson for me. Like, I guess that was the first business, that was the first business I built by myself, where I didn't have a business partner and I was literally going it alone. And I put $5,000 in the bank with nothing but information out of my mouth. And
can I just highlight a point here?
Yeah.
This is very important for people just starting their business, but it's also important for people that have been in it for a while. How you were naturally wired and the opportunity you took there is exactly the cycle of how to actually do business. And again, the old hierarchical way was you've got to have a product, you then take it to market and make sure they want it, and then you put a price on it and you sell it. But you've inverted that naturally without even knowing you did it 3 years ago. You understand it now because you're a tactician, right? But now it's about the idea, then the strategy. Oh, okay, let's sell it. And only then once money comes in, you go, let's assess if I can be bothered building it. Then I'm going to build it and then I'm going to brand it. That's like building and branding is step 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Whereas I've always thought, hang on, I've got to have something to sell. So if you're starting off, don't spend 3 months in development of that t-shirt that you need to know how to manufacture because you customize it. Like, you've got to have the idea to pitch, but just go and pitch it. Like, in the next 24 hours, whatever it is you're working on, I want it for sale somewhere, go.
Yeah.
Because they're the people who are going to win this. And then the market will tell you if it's right or wrong. Now, I know you've got, SEO and searchability and all the other bits that have to be built around it to make sure you're accessing potential customers. But this is a major point for this podcast that you've raised. You naturally went, there's an idea here. Pitch it, sell it, then build it. Don't build it first.
Well, an even more extreme version of that was a guy I had on the podcast over in Israel. His name was Benny Shaviv, and he built an app called Fitness 22. And it was, at one point, the number one fitness app on the App Store. And I think it had over 30 million users or customers from memory. But he raised $4.4 million with an idea. Like, without, anything actually built. He raised this money by just coming up with this idea and pitching it to the investors and finding the suppliers and saying, okay, if I built this, would you commit to purchasing this product? And when he did that, he got all the contracts basically signed saying, yeah, we'll be your beta testers. We'll show you, we'll have a go at it. It seems like something that we would like, and created this whole business model without a product. And what he said was when he went to go raise the money with the VCs, obviously he would have went to 40, 50 different VCs and did all the meetings. But in all of these meetings, he created a PowerPoint presentation and got a basic graphic designer to help him design the app the way it should look. And as he wanted to click to the next part of the app, it was just a new slide. So he did no coding whatsoever, created this big slideshow of how the actual app would work if it was coded, saved the $500,000 it probably would have cost to code it before knowing whether or not it would work, raised the money, then coded it. Right? And then after coding it, already had the suppliers and the sales pipeline built. So there's an example. We're not just building like a $5,000 sale. We're talking a pretty decent sized company with nothing, thin air, an idea.
But what's wrong with that? Doesn't that seem like a much smarter way to build a business than the old way?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. That is the way you're supposed to build a business.
That's right.
There's different levels that you can play at doing that, but it's all possible. Like, you can literally create a business model and business idea and anything without actually investing a whole lot of money in it. Most of the businesses I've built or overseen getting built, a lot of our clients, if you can't build the first version of your business for under 10 grand, like, there's something not quite right there. You've got to be able to figure that out.
Well, I've just done that, haven't I?
Yeah. That's one of the businesses we built for you. Yeah. Under 10 grand. You should be able to nickel and dime it before you go and invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in a business.
I can give you a live example of how not to do it. I'm a real dot florist.
Yeah.
Had a great idea. The market said that they wanted it. So I didn't sell it. I then went away and spent a year building it. All the stuff, it's a search platform for connecting consumers to florists. I did all the work, got all the staffing done. How are we going to handle memberships? I thought I was being a smart leader. And then I've gone to market to sell it. I've missed the wave of sentiment that was driving the demand. Yeah. And I ended up selling 20 memberships.
Yeah.
Goodbye, $50,000, $70,000. Opportunity lost. Stupid way of doing it.
If you had to change one thing, in my mind, I would have just signed them up before it launched.
That's what I'm talking about. But see, you know what held me back? I feel I'm a very genuine individual, and I hate people that haven't done what they're preaching, because then they're just preaching an idea. And that was my mental gridlock. That was like, no, I can't
sell something that doesn't exist.
Unless it exists, unless I've got to feel good about it. And seriously, that's all that was stopping me. It was my own wanting to feel genuine. I didn't want to come across as disingenuous.
But it's nothing to do with being genuine.
Exactly.
Because you can just be honest and say, it's not built yet, but this is what it's going to be. And you're going to be one of the first adopters, and you're going to get a special price for that. And you're going to be able to beta test it, and you're going to be able to give us feedback and actually help be a part of how this is going to work, because it's supposed to work for you. We're building this for you, so we need that feedback to build it the way you actually want it. How does that sound? Do you want to sign up? And you would have had a stack of contracts, maybe it was 20. Maybe you realize, like, okay, I've approached 500 florists and 20 have signed up. This is rubbish. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
If you approach 500 florists and 200 signed up, you're like, whoa, I really got something.
It's the same for somebody with a course, right? Like, if any of your listeners are like building a course, they might be in fitness, they might be in nutrition, might be in investing. Like, you don't have to build out your whole course. You've got to have an idea on where you want to end up. All you got to do is record the first 2 episodes and then put it out there for sale.
Yeah. I did that with Digital Marketing Made Easy.
Yeah, that's right. How did that go?
Not well. Like, we sold we created it. I mean, the thing about our courses at Social Growth Media is they were not actually designed to teach the general public. They were actually designed to train our internal employees.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I hired new, for example, if I was hiring an Instagram expert, they don't exist. There is no such thing as an Instagram expert that you can hire directly. You have to hire someone that's very smart when it comes to digital marketing or social media marketing. And you have to train them to become an Instagram expert. Because there's no such thing as a solid Instagram marketing course that you could do at uni, that you could do, well, really anywhere else. Like the one that we teach, I mean, I've seen other Instagram marketing courses out there, but they're not doing anything like what we're actually doing for client work. For example, like you can't just teach someone how to use a network of influencers. Like that's just, that's something that we have internally that no one else has. And we have to train our employees. So I was getting sick of training employees continuously. And instead I was like, well, let's just create a course. And then when we created the course, we said, all right, well, let's see how the general public likes this. Because at the end of the day, we weren't really holding back the information. We were like, when it comes to Instagram marketing, it's time consuming, it's hard work. Like if you want to get any good results, like it's literally just time consuming and hard work. I figured there would be like a small percentage of marketers out there that would be prepared to do that. I foolishly thought that there'd be a decent percentage of business owners that would want to do it as well. And I realized after training, we've trained over 100 businesses to do it. The conversion rate on people actually doing it is just incredibly low. And so I was like, all right, that's okay. Why? And the same feedback, and you were at most of these boot camps, the same feedback everyone always had. Can you do this for me?
Done for you.
Can you do this for me? Is there a done for you service?
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of did have one, but I'd never really built it at scale or anything. And that sort of dawned that whole service, which, by the way, we are now ranked number 2 in the country for Instagram marketing service or Instagram marketing management or Instagram marketing company. Anything Instagram marketing on Google, we're almost cracking like first position.
Your SEO is paying off.
Yeah, across the world. So early days, but 6 months from now, we will literally be dominating that keyword because no one has like the, results or support.
They can't go out on that because they can't prove it.
Yeah, so we're actually like cracking big numbers now for just that particular service. And then by default, that's why we launched our SEO service, because it's doing so well for us. We started to open it up for clients.
Well, see, there's a good example of idea, sell, then implement. Like you sold me SEO before you were ready or thinking you wanted to implement it.
Correct.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I wanted what you had. I want your secret sauce. Mm-hmm. What's it going to cost me? Who are you? What do you do? What's it going to cost me? What's it going to give me? Maybe what's it going to give me, then what's it going to cost me in that order. Bam, thanks. Sign up. What do I sign? Let's go.
Yeah. And we told you, we just said, we have our own SEO team that's doing really good stuff. Do you want us to do your SEO? And you're like, yeah. Like, all right, well, let me now plan how that's going to roll out.
That's a key point for people, though. Again, I want them to really delve into this and really walk away from this podcast, if not anything else, just understanding that. You do not have to go and recreate the wheel, spend time doing a lot of stuff.
No. You can be honest with your, like, a lot of people, I'm not sure if it's just like where I live, but when it comes to the sales process, I think people really just don't understand sales. Like they really believe that they need to have like the Google office. They believe that they need to have like this really like as you're talking about just before, this super expensive, fixed cost over their business to feel like they're doing something good.
They're building a hierarchy.
Right? Mm. But it's nothing to do with that crap. Like you can sell something with honesty and integrity without even having it if you're just honest about it. And you tell the client, or you keep them informed all along the way what's actually going on. people just want to know what's going on. Like, as long as they know what's going on. We've had some serious ups and downs in like some of the things that we have like done specifically with you and your businesses. Horrible situations.
But you didn't wake up that morning with the intent of, I'm really going to fuck Nicki over here and make this really difficult. See, this is sorry, you've just highlighted another critical point that I think about a lot, and it's worth just pausing you for the fear of interrupting your chain of thought. Intent. What is the intent of someone's action, right? Your intent was to deliver me world-class service done for you. You'd tested it. You'd done all the right things. You'd pre-tested it. You'd done it to yourself first. Yes, this is going to work. Then you exposed it to the client.
Yep.
And it exploded and just imploded at the same time. So you've done it exactly the right way. So here's a good point. You've done everything the right way, yet it still failed.
Yeah.
That's okay. Stand up, rinse off, go again.
And we did. And so, you know, I was very honest about what had actually happened behind the scenes.
Well, that's what saved the relationship. Your honesty and getting naked. What's that? You know, get naked with your clients. I wasn't happy when we had that coffee, was I?
No.
I was a little bit shitty when I sat down with you.
No one would be.
No, because the agency model failed, and I sat down. But you know what? You just told me exactly what had happened, and you didn't bullshit a bullshitter. Like, you didn't dress it up. You just went, here's what happened. This is not what I wanted, but that's what I ended up getting.
Yeah.
And that's why we're still friends, and I'm still a client. I'm still paying you money monthly because, you know what? I go, well, yeah, okay. Actually, I could have done that too, and I probably would have fucked that up as well. So, okay, what are we going to do now?
Yeah. And that's the long-term value of being honest with your clients. If you're running a business, that you can be honest. If you're not running a business where you can be honest, get out of that business.
Yeah. Why are you doing it? You haven't got a business. You've got a smokescreen.
Exactly. So, a few little good points there.
I interrupted your chain of thought. I'm sorry. It was just such a good point. I wanted your listeners to really... Intent, right? What's the intent of someone's action? That's what you should judge people on, not just on the result.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I actually got into this business in the first place, if you really reverse engineer it. Like, I was doing extremely well in the finance sector with trading and investing. I was on massive money for a 20-year-old, like outrageous money for a 20-year-old. And I had everything sort of set up. I had a business. I had one client that I made a lot of money with. And then I was like, well, this is great and all. And that one client, by the way, is still a really, really good friend and mentor. I thought, well, if I can do this for one client, can I do this for many clients? And the answer was yes, but it's going to be very difficult, I found out. But slowly but surely over time, I've, sort of built this team piece by piece, person by person. And now I have the ability to deliver high quality services in two specific types of marketing strategies that we specialize in, and anything that's outside of that scope, we don't touch anymore because that's where problems come up. And now that I have this team, it's like, well, I can actually build really, really solid long-term relationships with many, many different clients in many different industries and sectors. I get to learn from everybody around me. I get to work with really successful people. You know, I had another client here a few days ago, you know, running $1 million per year turnover business with a website that doesn't work, and it's an online business. So that business and that product is so good that her clients will still go through the mess of this website that's broken to try and get to the members portal to purchase their orders, and she still turns over $1 million a year and her website's completely broken. So she's investing a little bit of money with us in comparison to what she's making every month to just make sure the website works, getting the SEO going on Instagram and all of that. And for the first time, she's been screwed over by like so many companies. Like, the reason her website's broken is because she's working with a terrible development company, but she doesn't know any better. You know, she's older, you know, in her 50s, doesn't know how websites work.
You only know what you know.
Exactly. So she thought she was doing okay because her developer or whoever was in charge, told her she was doing okay, told her everything was great. And then after extracting some teeth and trying to get the WordPress logins to actually look at the back end, it's not until I put my eyes on it and explain the data and show her, like, your SEO is not real. It's a software. Like, it's not real SEO. It's killing your website. Your back end doesn't work at all. Like, this is not moving forward. This is not growing. And you can see this. And she's just like, almost like, poor thing, almost had a
I've got 2 points I want to raise with you. One, you called her old when she's in her 50s. I'm 42, almost 50. So
older. I did not say
careful on old. Because a lot of people listening to this are going to be in my target age group and I. And older. I think the other brilliant thing you just mentioned was honesty and intent. If you look at Social Growth Media's website, you had the courage to completely redesign it only a few months ago when you actually realised, hang on, this needs to be done from the start again because of what I now know. And that's why I like you, because you won't, like, you know, we all go to workshops where what they're preaching is what they were preaching. We just had this conversation before. They're preaching 3 years ago is what they're preaching now.
Yeah. When
you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So that's one of your key strengths. Like, you knew you had got on something, hang on, and you implemented it for yourself as well as telling me I've got to do it. You didn't just tell me to do it to spend the money and then you didn't do it. I think that's the other thing I just want to highlight because it's worth saying.
Yeah.
It's like the minute you know better, you will actually go through the pain and the money to do better.
Yeah.
And it applies to your own company.
Yeah.
That's the sort of person I want to work with. Not just, you should be doing this. Well, great. When's the last time you did it?
Yeah, if you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk.
Yeah. So that's, and that's honesty and that's intent. That's all. It all ties nicely up into what we're talking about.
And that's a difficult thing that I had to do. Like, we had built like a $20,000 website. That was
you've got to admit that you can do better.
Yeah, well, I had to also admit that I hired a bad team that built a $20,000 website.
Yeah, but that's on you because you're the leader.
Yeah.
And you've swallowed that pill. You've swallowed that.
Yeah, I did. But, it took me 12 months to get my head around the fact that I had to delete my website and start again. Like, that's a big problem. And now that I've seen myself go through that whole thing, come out the other side, now we have results that, like, are clearly good results just by rebuilding.
Rank number 2.
Yeah, rank 2.
That would never have happened with your old site.
It's impossible because it wasn't built correctly. It's like when you build a house, you can't build it out of straw.
But see, this is the problem for normal everyday people. We hear about it's got to be SEO'd and built the right way. I've just gone through this whole process with Jackson, by the way, folks, for 2 of my brands, and the 3rd one's getting done when I get back from South Africa.
Yeah.
And the amount of, understanding that you've got to design it, then code it properly in the development, the programming, and then it's also about building further parts of the SEO to then bring traffic and visibility. Mm-hmm. Like, the average person who's busy running their business or just about to launch a business really hasn't got a clue. And what you said before, everyone's been screwed over a few times on SEO snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
That, $2,000, I'll get you the front page of Google.
Yeah.
This is the problem, right? So how do you cut through and how do you actually go, have the courage, here's the path, spend the money?